Do you have to go to college to become a plumber? Well, I know I didn't go to college and I became a plumber, but I've got a special guest in here today. Byron, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Well, Roger, thank you for having me. My name is Byron, and I run the Drain domain on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And yes, I did go to college. I also work as a journeyman plumber in the state of Texas, based out of Houston with my dad in Byron Plumbing Services. And yes, I did go to college, and I am a plumber.
Okay, now you didn't just go to a little junior college or a little community college or you know, online college. You're at like a big school in Houston, Texas.
The main one in Houston, University of Houston.
Now, right, Rice will tell you they're the main one. Hey, I'm just saying, I know how they think down there.
Roger, you have been getting some slander on U of H
Hey,
today.
you know what? Hey, I have nothing against the Cougs. I got friends that went to school there. So I love this question because people ask me all the time, well, should I go to college first and then become a plumber? Should I become a plumber and then go to college? You pretty much did it both at the same time.
Correct. Correct. I did both at the same time, and it was a great journey for me as far as being able to balance everything out. And I feel like it's been something that I learned a little bit from college. I learned a little bit on the field. I learned a lot everywhere, and it's just been a great experience for me overall.
Okay, so for people out there that are either, maybe there's somebody in college right now that thinks, wow, you know, I never thought about becoming a plumber. And there's probably a reason for that. But I've got to tell you, plumbing is a great career to get into. And I love your idea. So you knew you were going to be a plumber. Why did you go ahead and go to college?
Mostly, I wanted to learn the business side of it. I felt like it was something that my dad didn't get the opportunity to do. And I felt like it was a great opportunity for me to learn a little bit more about the business aspect of it. Because if you're going to have your own company, you need to know a little bit about the business side of it. Tiny bit.
Just a little bit. Because if you don't and you own your own business, you're going to learn it later. I'd rather learn it from the beginning.
Correct.
Okay, so and look, y'all got a great reputation down in Houston. So the idea that you wanted to go to college to learn to help grow the business, I love that. But what are the three big things? What is it that you learned that you think really helped you as a plumbing company? Because I mean, right now it's you and your dad. Y'all have plans to grow. And of course, one day you're probably going to move up and run things. But what are three things? What's the number one thing? The first thing that you learned that you're like, look, this helps a lot.
Great question. I would say number one is the numbers. If you don't know the numbers and where everything is going, your cost and your profit margins and all those great terminologies that people are probably shaking their heads at not knowing what's going on,
Mhm.
if you don't understand those things, it's going to be very hard to be profitable because there's a difference between making money and getting a paycheck versus being profitable. And being able to learn that at the college level has been a great experience for me and has helped me make decisions financially for the company that has helped us scale up a little tiny bit as far as my experience goes.
Okay, so knowing your numbers, and I liked it because we did the podcast. So if y'all want to see that, jump over to the Trade Talks Live. It'll be posted over there, also on YouTube. But you talked about knowing your overhead and what really is overhead,
Correct.
and it's overhead after your labor, after your materials, after this, after that. How do you learn to look at it now? Or do you look at your jobs every day? Do you look at them every week or every month and see how you're doing? Or how are you using those numbers?
Correct. For those numbers, I have to strategize pretty much is what I have to do with the numbers. I don't just look at them and just, oh, we did numbers
Oh,
today.
gee, the numbers look great.
We have to actually make decisions based on the numbers. So it's, okay, our overhead is this much. Why is it this much? Is there something that we can cut? Is there a software that we might not be using as much as what we would like to? Is there materials that we could get different at a different price? Our labor, how many hours did it take on those jobs? All those things are super important if you want to run your own plumbing company, because if you don't understand that, you can leave a lot of money on the table and ultimately you can even be losing money on jobs where you're profitable.
Now, I got a question. Do you have like daily KPIs that you look at, your key performance indicators? Do you know like how many times did the phone ring today? How many times did we convert that call? How many times did you go out on a call that did convert or did not convert? Do y'all track things like that every day too?
I take mental notes for the most part as far as the calls versus our conversions go. I really focus more on our cost and as far as how many hours are going into the job itself, because if it takes someone 4 hours to do a 30-minute job, something is not right.
Right.
Again, it's plumbing. Things can go wrong. We all
Mhm.
know that. But is that the case? Or was there something else that we might be missing that we can kind of strategize on and learn and grow from.
I love that. Okay. So what's the second thing that you learned that you're like, look, these are things that we need to really work on? And I believe it's actually something you majored in.
My major, marketing. Marketing is super important, and not marketing like, oh, let's create an infomercial and all that great stuff. It's understanding the buyer behavior. That's marketing ultimately. Why do they buy the way that they do? And how can you tailor your marketing campaigns to be able to reach those customers and ultimately get those jobs and get that phone calling? I think that's super important, especially being someone that majored in it. I would hope that I would learn a good amount of things from the marketing, which I have. And again, it's just being able to strategize how we're going to reach those customers.
Okay. So you strategize how to reach them. So based on what you learned in college, how are you reaching them now in a way that maybe you weren't before?
Well, there's things that we've been doing differently. One thing, SEO. I feel like you've talked about it before.
Time or two.
A little bit of times, and people don't really realize what that means. Of course, the cheapest form of marketing is word of mouth, which is always amazing, but there are some things that you need to do to get that edge a little bit more than what your typical regular plumber would do.
You bet.
Correct?
No, I get it.
Yeah, and I think that another important thing about marketing that people don't realize is sales. Sales is marketing. Well, as far as my classes go, I've had to take sales courses. I've had to learn different ways to sell. And there's a method called spin selling, which we can go into that another day because it's this whole amazing idea of how to sell. But there's just different processes that you need to do. And marketing is this huge umbrella that is definitely a good area to kind of prioritize.
And look, I tell every kid going to college, look, get into marketing because every business in the world needs to market.
Correct.
That's how we make our phones ring. So I love that marketing is a big deal for you because really on social media, that's how it starts out. We started out marketing for a plumbing company. So what is the third thing that you think you learned in college that has really helped you or will help you in your business?
I would say I learned this both in the classroom and as my own experience, and it's a process. Why is your process the way that it is, and how can you create an efficient process to do things? The phone rings. What do you do after that? Do you just talk to them like they're your buddy? What do? You have to have a good process on how to do things and understand the call comes in, we go, we do the job, we do the invoicing, we do the estimating before the invoicing, of course, but creating that process is such a crucial step in making everything run seamlessly that I really learned that in college, and I really learned that as far as my classes go in general because I had to do my homework in a certain process. I had to do things in a certain process. Everything was so process oriented to where now it's kind of like second nature for me and how the process runs.
And you did a lot of that homework in a plumbing van.
Correct.
I mean, literally, you got your plumbing license recently.
Correct.
You graduate in a month or two. So not only did he go to college, he got enough hours in to become a plumber. Now a journeyman plumber. That is fantastic. And I love that you talk about processes. One of the entrepreneurs that I've been associated with for a while, we were in a meeting one day and he says, look, anytime you do something more than once, have a process for it. Mm-hmm. And I love that because as plumbing companies and plumbing company owners and plumbers, we don't walk up to the house and do something different every time.
Correct.
Sometime we're going to knock on the front door. Sometime we're going to ring the doorbell. Sometime we're going to go around back. No, we have a process. You come up, you knock, you step back off the porch. That way you're not right there in somebody's face. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but having processes makes it where your company can do the same thing over and over and over again and perfect it. Processes change. You always look at it and say, hey, is something we're doing here not working? What if we tweak this? What if we modify this? So I love this. And I appreciate you coming here in Dallas. Tell everybody again who you are, where they can find you on social media, and the name of the company and what you do in Houston.
My name is Byron. I run the Drain domain. That's where you guys can find us in all our social medias. And in Houston, we work for Byron Plumbing Services. We're all greater Houston area, and we're more than happy to help anyone that needs any plumbing services.
Man, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Now, one thing I want you to do, start making some videos in Spanish.
We'll do that. Stay tuned for that one.
Guys, whatever you do out there today, do it safe and hit it effing hard. If you like this video, I think you'll like one of these other ones.